Are we rolling?
Hello everybody, it's 2025 and we're here for the Fireside Chat. Got Jamie Mann, Paul Smith, Jack Higginbotham.
That said, welcome everybody. It's a joy to do these.
Yep, glad to be here.
You know, we started the year with that beautiful concert at NAMM, and all the musicians came to play. My God, did they come to play. And they didn't just come to play for the audience, they came to play for each other too. And I thought it was a really powerful way to start our 40th anniversary. And for me, watching that support and watching guitar players play at 1,100 other guitar players,
it was amazing.
The energy in that building was intense.
It was intense. So to let everybody know, we had a big celebration concert at the beginning of the year for the industry at the House of Blues in California. And boy, people came to play. That was very interesting to watch. You can watch the concert online.
It was interesting. I was just on a trip, and on the trip at a dinner table, people started talking about that show.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. And it was cool because they all had a kind of a conversation about what their favorite performer was. Mm-hmm. And that, I think that show had a huge impact. Not just the music was amazing, but in a way introducing some of our artists to other cultures that may not be familiar with them, and it was powerful.
Really and some of the Pulse artists that were there I mean, they were enamored by the whole thing.
Yeah,
it was
they
great,
played
great
really
opportunity.
well.
Yeah. Yep.
And they sang well. It was all good.
Yep.
The room sounded great. It was a very nice night.
John Mayer's assistant, personal assistant, was out in the audience, and she's listening, going, "Oh my God, does it sound good?" And I didn't really understand until I got a call from Jonathan, who was at front of house. He goes, "Well, thanks for letting me be part of a legendary performance." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't understand, but he got to see this moment happen, this historic moment, what he called it. And I was very touched by it. I literally had my wife on the stage at the end when John was talking, holding on to her for dear life, because he was saying some things were hard to deal with. But I loved it. And I think that was a good way to start this being our 40th anniversary. I'm not sure the year played out like the party, but it is what it is.
Yep.
To be quite frank, these are challenging times for our industry. Demand for guitars is down about 20% worldwide. And we had to adjust our workforce this year, which was really difficult for me and for you guys personally. But I think not mentioning that we went through that this year after that party would be not right, but it was tough stuff.
Yeah, we've gone through, 8-9 years of grow, people screaming for guitars to, oh my goodness, there's a lot of inventory out there and we have to hit the brakes.
Yeah, I think people sometimes don't look at the company the way we look at it. We're a pretty small company, so when we make a move like that, it has high impact. It's an emotional impact on us.
It's emotionally very, very difficult.
Yep.
I don't know, I felt personally responsible for the whole thing, but we did what we had to do to make sure that we were still here. The other side of it, though, is I've been on the floor more than I've ever been on the floor trying to work with all the guitar makers on the floor to up the game. A lot of the guitars we're making are just, wow. I pick them up and go, whoa. And I like that part.
Yeah.
I like how stable the necks are. I like how strong they are. I like how well everything from the nuts and the tuning pegs and the pickups and the bridges and the finish and everything's working together. So we have taken this time to invest a tremendous amount of time into what it is that people buy, the guitars.
Right.
Yeah, it's a time to dig deep, push hard.
Yeah.
And, we've been innovating and pushing for years now. Yeah. And I think we're redoubling our efforts right now to just make the best product we can possibly make right now.
Possibly can make,
Yep.
That's true.
So I just went on a couple of trips, and one of my traveling buddies was my 1986 Custom 24, my first employee guitar.
Why did you take it on the trip?
I took it because it is a guitar that got put in a closet my other guitars passed it. It wasn't a guitar that I was using anymore. And it kind of became an irritant to me. I realized that our guitars today are so much more than what that guitar was.
Right.
So I brought it in, James Zimmer's ripped it apart, put it back together again, new pegs, new nut,
Well, you put
new
all the
bridge.
new stuff on it.
It's all new.
Yeah.
It's like a hot rod, old body, new drive line.
Right.
And it's suddenly my favorite guitar again. And I used that to send that message. It's like, I love that old guitar, I
As
built
an
that
example.
guitar, but this is our best work.
What countries were you in?
Japan, Korea, India, and the UK.
Wow.
Yep, and that is, I think, it's just the truth. That's the truth. I'm proud of what we've done, but we don't look back on that. We build off of that, and I think that's nice.
Look, it's been challenging times. I think that anybody that tells you it's not challenging times, there's a lot of fear in the market. The tariffs have had an effect on us. There's a lot of things that have had an effect on us. And we're not alone in our industry at all.
Yeah.
People are feeling it household to household. But that said, we're not victims. We're doing what we can. And right now, focusing on the product is the right thing to do, I think. And we're teaching as much as we can about our history and where we are. That guitar is beautifully a teaching tool because this is where we were and we put the new bits on it and this is where we are.
Yeah, I wish I could have the old one and the new one at the same
compare.
time because it's kind of hard to.
Did you feel bad about taking the
I
historic?
didn't, but everyone around me did. People in the office thought I was nuts, but it's awesome now. It really is amazing now. You should play.
All right, so I've had this experience where they go, don't do it, don't do
yeah.
it, don't do it, don't do
Yeah.
it. And then you do it and they go, next day, you know what they say? They go, can I
I
play
borrow
it?
that?
Yeah, can I play it? Yeah.
Yep.
So I think things are pretty stable, although reputations are built very slowly and they can disappear quickly. And I don't think we're allowing that. I don't think we're trying to make sure that's not allowed the best we can. We're not making Bluetooth speakers. We're trying to make instruments that people can pull out of the case and do a session or a gig with without even going to the repair person. It's important to us. I've never seen such complicated times. And sometimes I'm sitting in meetings, I'm just, when I think, I kind of close my eyes and I look down, it looks like I'm not paying any attention, but what I'm really doing is really listening and thinking and trying to think of solutions when they don't look like there are any, and we are finding some. I mean, I know that the fundamentals of guitar making don't disappear. You still have to have a straight neck, you still have to have level frets, you still have to have the nut glued on well, you still have to have tuning pegs that work, you gotta have pickups that sound musical. There's a million things that are just fundamentals of guitar making that are important that we glue to, but where's the solution for the problem? If you have an artist who calls you and they say, something, I'm having a problem doing this, you're trying to find a solution for
Right.
them.
Herman Lee's a good example
Oh
of that.
boy, that was 10 years of solutions.
And that's kind of a high mark for this year, I think. Getting a guitar like that's a well-engineered.
The Chleo.
Oh, yeah, my goodness. What a complicated
Masterpiece.
project that was.
Yeah.
He was in our factory 20 years ago. And he goes, I love this place, but my dream is to have an Ibanez signature model, and I have to see my dream through. And I looked at him and said, come on, Herman. He goes, I got to see my dream through. So about 10 years ago, he had done that whole thing well, actually, with Ibanez. And we were sitting behind one of the hotels at NAMM. I said, come on, man, let's do it. He goes, okay. That was 10 years ago. We worked on that design for 10 years. He wanted the most heavily engineered synthesizer controller. Really, it had a detune mechanism on it. It held the detune mechanism in place when you were bending strings. It had. He wanted to be able to ram his leg into it as hard as he can and have the neck break out of it with this little teeny thin neck joint. It was like,
Still makes everybody chuckles when you bring that up too. It's like, oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, but that took a while. I think we should be proud of what happened. I thought it was an extraordinarily good piece of engineering for the guitar industry to see.
I think it's a good example of getting down on your knees and looking under every rock, because there are so many hurdles in making that guitar that's outside of our normal process. And
He wasn't going to let us off the hook. There was nothing that he wanted that we were not going to be allowed to do. We had to get him the whole list.
Yeah.
He wanted every box checked.
Yeah.
And then there was an SE version that came out. How close to the other release did it come
3 or
out?
4 months. 3 or 4
That's
months.
the first time that's happened.
Yeah, they were pretty close together, and that was nice to have that limited run and then to have the SE out. That was another. I heard that guitar in Korea. One of our artists in Korea was playing through an Archon using that guitar, and I just happened to walk into sound check while that was happening. It was unbelievably good sound.
You've got racks of Cleos of the Merrill made stuff in final assembly now.
I saw that.
I saw that.
I saw that. Yep. They're coming through. But
You're never
On
going
their
to
own
sell
base.
any of those. Really? People are mad they can't get one.
Yeah.
But I think, part of the Cleo situation, you touched on it earlier, listening. I mean, right now, I think we're doing a lot of talking and listening. And hearing what the artists want, hearing what the retailers want, hearing what the distributors want. And we're fortunate that we're small enough and nimble enough and creative enough to
And
be
curious
able
enough.
to pull these things off. Yeah, and curious.
Open enough.
Well, that was not
think
an
that's
easy
good.
pull off.
Yeah.
How are our hands?
You
How do
ready?
you feel about our hands?
As long as you're not tapping them
You ready or not?
or grabbing and jumping.
Ready?
Okay.
The Cleo is one of many launches this year. We are doing everything we can do to put great product out there, innovative product, new product out there. We celebrated our 40th with some new product, and right now we're in the middle of looking at collaborating with lots of different people and understanding what the markets are looking for and combining that with what we know as guitar builders. And this is a time to push right now and understand what we can do with our factories. And we're lucky enough that we have a huge depth of experience and knowledge in our factories. And that gives us a lot of leeway and a lot of opportunities to do things faster and better, I think, than some of our competition. One of the things that's happening right now, we have a Sprayer's Choice program. So if you have a fallout guitar or something goes not quite right with it, and rather than get the team together and say, what are we going to do with this whole thing?
Or paint it
we
black.
have very talented sprayers, and we say, use have fun. Just have fun. Make something cool, make it creative, and surprise us.
Yeah.
And that flexibility that we can give to folks on the floor, I think is not only fun, but it works.
It's a great use of talent.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And you never know what people are going to attach to. We're trying to inspire the guitar market and inspire the dealers. But one of the best things we did was that bass pickup on the NF53 when we released it. I never got a call about it, but other stuff that I thought was a yawner, they were like, oh my God, and you just don't know what's going to stick. You just don't know. We did not know how fast those Cleos were going to sell.
Yeah.
What took a day?
That was quick.
That was hours. That was 6 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
Look, it was very fast.
Let me thank everybody that's watching this. You give us permission to move forward and be different. If we're not just recreating like your old guitar. We're going forward, and the market has given us permission to do this, which I really appreciate. It could be the other way around. Oh, we just want 85 guitars again. Just go away, Paul.
Right.
That's not happening. People are giving us permission to do this stuff, and I got a call from an artist right before this thing. Where's my guitar? Where's my new guitar? Where's my, and I love that part.
Yeah.
Well,
just on the permission to go forward comment.
Well, the market does give you permission.
And I think we have unique permission to go forward and look forward and not just reflect back on what the world has done for the last 50 or 100 years.
Right.
And I think we've got some pretty fun concepts that we're cooking for next year.
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty excited about.
I was going to say something similar, and I think it's because we've never been typecast. We've never really stopped. From day one, there was always day 5. You know what I mean? It's never been, we're done. There's always the next thing. So I think people expect that. They kind of expect that, or at least they're not shocked by it.
Yep.
I can tell you this. Ted McCarty gave us every single thing that he had to give us so that we could learn from him. And Leo Fender used to come by the booth in the early days to see what these young whippersnappers were going to be doing, to carry it on. And recently I've had the feeling that we finally have been equal or starting to pass what the mentors taught us. And I'm really enjoying what we're making now.
I often hear you say, "This is our time."
Yeah.
And the thing of it is you say that year after year after
Well, I
year.
need to shut up.
No, but you don't need to shut up because I believe it is our time because we're always pushing forward. We're
that's
always looking for the next, not an epiphany, but the next revelation that leads to advancing the guitar.
That's the
So
idea.
one thing that I've been saying, and I think it's really true, we are a company that we're not doing it intentionally, so intentionally, but we're looking forward. We're not looking back. We're not looking at what we've done. We're looking at what we can do.
That's true.
And
Actually, that's a good way of looking at
it's super energizing too. I mean, that's what really keeps me up at night is like just trying to figure out what the next move might be. That's fun. That's good stuff.
No, I think the team is inspired by that, and the team is doing a lot of thinking, about
Yeah.
what's next and what's new, and it's a
It's the
cultural
company.
piece right now.
I say I, and it's true that
No,
it is I, but I think it
Yeah.
is the way the company runs.
Yeah.
That's the way the wheels on the bus go around. So it's pretty cool.
How come I didn't get the dress code memo? Plaid, jeans, and
They
brown
did.
shoes.
Andrew clearly said wear adult clothes.
Adult?
I'm just saying. I don't know what that is.
Some sort of paisley flower thing. Look,
It looks like
I'm gonna
the
lose it
RU
if I walk into the
experience. If
factory.
RU experience needed to be different, it would be that.
I've been losing so many shirts that today, so I would have the shirt for the video, I brought a gift card from Nordstrom Rack so that if somebody asked me for my shirt and I needed it for the video, that I'd give them a gift
That
card.
is
I
a
didn't know
nice
what else
shirt.
to do.
It is a super nice shirt.
Look, to fill everybody in, about 4 years ago, this employee comes up to me and he goes, "Nice shirt, I want it." And I said, "How long have you been working here?" He said, 12 years. And I said, "If it's the only thing you asked me for in 12 years, you can have it." Oh my God, has it turned into a thing. I lost 2 shirts last week, 2 shirts the week before.
Yeah.
I pulled
Do
this.
you have any of his shirts?
No, he doesn't want one of my shirts, neither do you.
I have one of your shirts.
How'd you get that?
I think it was a joke. I don't remember, but I
terrible.
keep coming
You
across this
shouldn't
shirt
have
in
a
my
shirt.
closet. I was like, why do I? Oh, yeah.
Do you ever wear it?
I've never worn it.
So it turned into a thing where like one day, Spicer walks up to me and he goes, "I'll have that shirt." And I went, "You've been looking at me for 3 years like I'm a piece of meat waiting for your
Waiting for the
shirt."
right shirt.
Waiting for the
And he
right
goes,
shirt to come along.
I took it off and threw it at him. So this guy comes up to me the other day. He goes, "Nice shirt." And I took the shirt off and I gave it to him. He goes, "Is that a thing?" I said, "How long have you been working here?" He says, "A year." I said, "That's the rule." He says, "Really? I get to keep it?" I said, "Well, that's the deal." He goes, "No, you said he walked off, right?"
That's funny. He did. That's funny.
You had a blue shirt on the other day. I
That
almost
lasted
bid on. I
40
almost bid
minutes.
on that one. Yeah.
It didn't last long.
You know, I feel like we've played this one out.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. So did you know that Carlos Santana was here this year?
I do know. I did see Carlos.
that
He was
John
coming
Mayer
in
was
and I
here
was
this
going
year?
out.
Yep.
Yep.
Mark Lettieri, Donna Gratis, there were a lot of artists that came through this year, and watching their pride, almost like they're owners of the company, which in a way they are, because, I mean, you talk about David Grissom or Carlos Santana or John, they're going to remember people for playing PRSs their whole life. It's cool. For them to walk around the factory and thank everybody was just awesome.
No, that was really amazing. Seeing Carlos back in the shop. It's been a while since Carlos
Yeah.
has been there, but that was really
He was
awesome.
so inspired. He walks up to this one private stock. He goes, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
He was just a gem.
Yeah.
To have such a legend be so personable with everybody in the factory and so appreciative.
We are very fortunate to have the artists that we have that they aren't just people playing the guitars, but they're part of the process. They make their art, they
Yeah.
make their music.
Yeah.
Our art is the guitar, so it's like we have our art form that channels their art form.
That's right. You know something? It's an honor
Yeah.
to even be a part of it, because quite frankly, these artists could be playing anything and it'd still be artists, but that they use our art to be part of their art, I think is beautiful.
After 40 years, it's still, I guess because we're so close to it, I get texts from people that say, "Ooh, I'm at a concert. This is one of your guitars there," and I still get excited. It's like, "Oh, someone's using our guitars. This is amazing." Just because I think it is an honor, and it's special when you see that.
It is an honor. If they don't give their endorsement to us, people aren't really going to believe what we think is important about guitars. But they also need instruments to make their music on. So it's a symbiotic relationship. They need these instruments, and they're always pushing for better instruments. And we are saying, "Can you help us?" And they're going, "Sure, I'll give you my reputation and give you a comment about it." Or, it really is important.
Which is kind of how it started with John. He needed that tool to make
For the Dead Company, yeah.
work.
Yeah, that was the opposite of put his name on a guitar and go. It was
There's
the
no
opposite
labels.
of that.
The same
It's
as
like
the Chleo.
Herman.
Yeah,
It's like it's like Herman and the Chleo.
Yeah.
It's like that's the involvement.
They were both deep into
And
the design.
David Grissom, with his guitar, with the amplifier, the DG, it's all that stuff.
He
is
turned to
collaborative.
me around like The Exorcist when he played the first Grissom amp. He goes, "This is a good sounding amp."
Who was this?
David.
Oh, yeah.
He just turned to me like The Exorcist. "This is a really good amplifier."
Yeah, he makes that thing sing too. It's a joy. to
Which
listen
kind
to.
of brings up the Rules of Tone videos. We did all these videos of our guitar makers talking about each of the sections in the factory and how they've learned from it and their experiences and what's important to them and how they make the parts, whether it be neck making or bodybuilding or pickups or whatever it was. Those videos, my phone lit up. I mean, I wasn't completely aware of what day they were being released, but my phone sure knew.
Right.
Do you remember my first day, 18 years ago? We walked around the outside. It was the first and only day I ever wore khakis in the factory.
That's not a good idea. Go on.
But you got the Rules of Tone out, and we did a lap around the factory on the outside, and we read through the Rules of Tone. You were like, "Let's go for a walk."
I don't remember that.
Yep, that was day one. I won't forget it. And we're still talking about basically that same list here almost 20 years later.
Truth is truth. Yeah.
Yep.
The Rules of Tone are one of the things I think that have been like a constitution or something inside of the company. This year was awesome because that's been such an internal thing that we've operated off of. And this year we got to kind of share that with the world through that video series. And I personally rarely get sucked into our own stories like I got sucked into that video series. It was pretty epic.
Do you know there's a little bit of history in that I wanted to release the Rules of Tone, and we decided to do the video series, not instead, but maybe instead?
Yeah. I think that was powerful and it was good and it was well done. So, I think the cool thing too is to be able to say, okay, we have these philosophies at the business, but it's driven down into the core of manufacturing. It's just the core beliefs of how the business should run. So it's really nice to be able to see that.
So the question is, where are we going to go from here? What are we going to do in 2026? I know that a lot of our partners, our dealers, have said that we should stay on the path of making new stuff that provides new tools for musicians and guitar players to go forward with. I don't know. I can tell you that I do love the place. I do love the people, and I do love guitars. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I still love it. I mean, we've lasted longer than a lot of other icons in our business in their positions, but I feel more dedicated to making guitars than I ever have. I like spending time on the floor with the guitar makers. I enjoy it. I don't know.
But I think one thing that's cool is just your passion fuels the entire business. You know what I mean? People feel that. They feel that need to make better, that passion, that desire. And it's one of the cool things about this place, no doubt.
I appreciate you saying that. I don't think of it that way, but I do know that it can be taken away just like that. And so we just got to stay at it.
So we're coming out of a 40th anniversary. That was epic. Started with a party. Here we are.
Yeah.
We're going into the 25th anniversary of the SE series, 30-year anniversary of private stock. While we have these different categories of business, we have one set of rules. Rules of tone apply to everything. categories can be different, but we're one leadership body, you know, and it has been consistently for 40 years, and that's really highly unusual. I think these anniversaries are cool because not just because time passed, but that we grew, and the DNA of the business, it kind of permeates everything, and that's nice.
Yep, we'll stick to our knitting, and we do appreciate everybody from the factory to the teams to the retailers to the distributors. Everybody's in this together with
customers.
us. And the customers, of course. But I do
Guitar
feel like we're
players
all
all
in this
the time.
together, and we're going to make a good year out of next year.
I really appreciate everybody watching. These are an honor to do. Thank you so much for your time.
Looking forward to 2026. I think we have some cool things coming.
So I know Jack was kidding, but I really genuinely like that shirt.
What did he say?
He likes your shirt
likes
more
your
than Jack
shirt.
likes it.
He likes it for reals.
You plaid son of a.
He has purple jeans.
Would you wear that shirt? Done and done.